every Muslim here today, young or old, deep down we have this inner problem inside of us mentally. This struggle that we have between the deen and the dunya, between our jobs / study and between our salah, between having ambition and having the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what can differentiate us between our work and our destiny in the akhirah, right? We would often try and give this life a balance. I want to balance the deen and the dunya. But what does balance actually mean? What does balance actually mean, right? For many of us, balance, the logic, like the actual term of balance, we think it means something to do with a scale, where one way is this much, one way is this much, we have a scale. And we think to ourselves that we can have deen like this and dunya like this as a balance. We're trying to give both of them equal weights. But how can we actually give that? But how can we give the deen and the dunya an equal balance? When one side of it, the deen, one feather of it carries a whole eternity, and all of the dunya won't even compete with that. Your 60, 70 years of the dunya, on the scale it's like this, and the one feather of deen, Jannah, is all the way down here. It's broken the scale. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, He says in Surah Al-A'la, but you prefer the life of this world, whilst the hereafter is far better and more lasting. This ayah isn't really to shame us for having goals, ambitions, for having jobs, for working. Rather, it's to remind us that this dunya was never meant to compete with the akhirah. It was meant to serve it. We here in the dunya were meant to serve it so we can be in the akhirah. This is our test. When we make the deen the center, everything else falls into place. When we make deen the center of everything we do in this life, everything else, كل شيء في الحياة, is going to be in place. Simple. Our studies will become sadaqah. Our jobs that we work will become sadaqah. The fitness that we do will become sadaqah. Our success will become a tool to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to help others. Prophet Muhammad says in a hadith, whoever makes the hereafter, the akhirah, his concern, Allah will make his heart rich, organizes affairs, and the world will come to him unwittingly. But whoever makes the dunya, the world, his concern, Allah will place poverty before his eyes. This organizes affairs, and nothing of the world will come to him except what is decreed for him. SubhanAllah, this is the key between trying to balance two lives. Trying to juggle both lives, deen and dunya, right? The key is actually not to balance it. It's very hard controlling two lives. Rather, the key is to understand the purpose and to look at one life through a different perspective. What do I mean by this? If we live in the dunya now, and we're trying to give this thing a balance, the only way we can give this a balance is by giving everything in the dunya a deen perspective. Why am I studying? Think of it for the deen attention. I'm studying for school so I can get a good degree, so I can serve my family, I can provide for myself and my family so we can worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why am I working? Providing for my family. Why am I keeping up with fitness? To keep myself in the best of health, since the body we've been given is in a man, as a responsibility. Why do people want to get married? Everything ties to the deen. Everything ties to the deen, subhanAllah. When your intention is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every single thing you do, every lecture, every work, every exam, everything, this all becomes ibadah. And so the Dariyat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, I did not create jinns and humans except to worship me. Jinns and humans. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that the main purpose of us being on this earth is to worship Him. That's the main purpose. Not the only purpose, the main purpose. But this doesn't only mean prayer and fasting, like the casual worship that we know. It means living with awareness that every action can come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with whatever intention you have. That you study because He commanded us to seek knowledge. Whether it's you're studying the Deen, you're studying the Quran, studying for your exams, studying in your workplace, studying about other people. That you work because He loves the believer who is strong and is productive. You waking up Fajr early, praying, reading, making your ibadah, getting active in the early hours in the morning. He loves the believer who is strong and productive. For us to sleep early at night so we can wake up early at night from Fajr, have barakah in the morning. Prophet ﷺ says in the hadith that there's barakah in the morning. That's a fact. But when our hearts lean too far into the dunya, wallahi, it begins to take over. Little by little. This is what the shaitan does. We will choose the attention of the other people. We will choose the followers. We will choose our work and our managers, our bosses. We will choose the money. And in all of this chase, that salah will get delayed. In all of this chase, the Quran that you have at home is going to start having ghabar on it, dusty. And the soul and the qalb, the heart also begins to dry up, start to receive little tiny black dots. This is what the shaitan is good at. He's not going to come at you with full force. Shaitan works 24/7. Little steps here and there to delay and restrict you off the deen. And Surah Al-Munafiqun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O you who believe, do not let your wealth or your children distract you from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whoever does so, it is they who are the true losers. When you find yourself saying that you don't have time for salah or you don't have time for the Quran, that's when you remember that it's not that you don't have time, it's what you have prioritized. If we're saying that we don't have time for the Quran, we're genuinely not prioritizing it. We're not going out for a way to pray Fajr in the morning, but we'll wake up for our bus at 8 a.m. We're not going to go out of our way to say to ourselves, we're going to read Quran in the beginning of the morning. At least to prioritize. That's the first thing we should be thinking about, rather than anything else. To prioritize what's right. If we know what we prioritize, we will have time for it. There's no doubt about it. We don't have time? No, we have time. We just do not prioritize what we should be prioritizing. Look at everything you have in life, reflect, see what's important, see what will actually bring you khair in the akhirah, and prioritize that first. Then make a list of what should not be prioritized, what should not be prioritized. Time itself is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How can we delay the salah? How can we delay Quran? How can we delay ibadah and not having the right intention by the one that made time? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made time, and we rush our salah, for example, because the dunya is distracting us. Prophet ﷺ says in the hadith, take advantage of 5 before 5. Your youth before your old age, your health before your sickness, your wealth before your poverty, your free time before it's gone, before you're busy, and your life before your death. This